Have you ever wondered why some gardeners consistently achieve breathtaking harvests year after year, while others seem to play a game of chance, dreaming of a record-breaking harvest in 2026? Well, the foundation for that success isn't laid in spring, but right now, in September. Today, I'll share 20 crucial steps you need to take this autumn. And believe me, some of these will surprise you and completely transform your gardening approach. For your garden, September isn't the season's grand finale. It's more like an intermission before a new, even more successful act. The soil, now free from most plants, is tired. Our main task is to help it recover and replenish its strength. We're not just cleaning up, we're investing in the future. Think of it like laying a solid foundation for a house. You can't build anything without it. So, where do we kick off our autumn garden marathon? Of course, with a thorough clean-up of our garden beds. This is more than simply picking any remaining produce. You need to ruthlessly clear away absolutely everything that has outlived its purpose. That includes dried-up tomato vines, yellowed cucumber tendrils, and leftover cabbage stalks. Also, pull out all weeds by the root and collect all fallen fruit, any apples, plums, or pears lying under the trees. Many people think this is just about tidying up, making things look neat. But in reality, this is your first and most crucial blow against future problems. Consider this: every leaf, every twig, every rotten fruit is a potential winter hotel for pests and their larvae. What's more, it's a breeding ground for fungal disease spores like blight or powdery mildew. By leaving all this in your garden beds, you're essentially setting the stage for diseases next year. So your task is to leave your garden beds absolutely bare and clean. Go over them with a rake, collecting every last bit of debris. Don't give pests any chance at a comfortable winter. Remember, a clean garden bed in autumn means a healthy garden bed in spring. But let's dig a little deeper now. Simply clearing away plant debris is only half the battle. The big question is, what do you do with it all next? The most common mistake is to simply dump everything into the compost pile without a second thought. Hold on a minute before you throw anything out. Give it a good, thorough inspection. Carefully examine every stem and every leaf. If you spot dark blight spots on your tomato foliage, powdery mildew on your squash leaves, or find pest egg clusters on your cabbage, those remnants simply do not belong in your compost. Putting diseased plant matter into your compost is a recipe for disaster, creating a breeding ground for infections that will plague your garden next year. Remember, not all spores and larvae will be destroyed during the composting process. So, here's a simple rule: anything that raises even the slightest suspicion must be completely eliminated. Burning is often the best approach. If burning isn't an option, bury it deep outside your garden boundaries. But clean, healthy plant remains, they're a valuable resource. These you can confidently add to your compost pile. This meticulous fall sorting is your key to a healthy, thriving garden next season. Once your garden beds and greenhouses are thoroughly cleared of all plant debris, it's time for some serious sanitation. Picture it as a meticulous deep clean for your home after a busy and lively period. Imagine that over the summer, your soil has become a haven for invisible enemies, fungal spores and pathogenic bacteria. They haven't vanished, they're merely lying dormant, patiently awaiting spring's warmth to launch a full force assault on your young plants. This is particularly crucial for greenhouses. The enclosed environment and high humidity create an ideal breeding ground for common diseases like blight, powdery mildew, and various other pathogens. Therefore, every surface in your greenhouse, the polycarbonate panels, the frame, the doors, requires a meticulous wash. But what about the soil itself? Tilling it with aggressive chemicals isn't the best approach, as that would inadvertently eradicate beneficial microbes too. This is precisely where modern, eco-friendly biological solutions come into play. Drench your garden beds with a solution containing beneficial fungi like trichoderma or bacteria such as Bacillus subtilis. These tiny, beneficial microorganisms are our invaluable allies. They actively suppress and destroy pathogens, effectively purifying the soil from within. This thorough autumn disinfection acts as a preventive vaccination for your entire garden. By doing so, we're establishing a healthy and safe environment, setting the stage for abundant future harvests. Alright, so we've sorted through our plant debris and all the good stuff is ready for its next purpose. And here's one of the biggest secrets to a fantastic harvest. Don't just see your compost pile as a place to dump organic waste. Instead, think of it as your personal factory for producing black gold, the most precious soil amendment you can get. Fall is the ideal time to start a new, well-structured pile, especially since you have such a massive amount of organic material available right now. The principle is simple. We're building a layered cake. You'll alternate green, nitrogen-rich layers, things like fresh plant trimmings, grass clippings, and kitchen scraps. Then add brown, carbon-rich layers, such as dry fallen leaves, straw, small twigs, and shredded cardboard. Each layer should be about 6 to 8 inches thick. After you've laid down a few layers, you can lightly water them, or, even better, use a solution of special compost activators to kickstart and accelerate the decomposition process. Over the winter and spring, this mixture will break down beautifully, and by the start of the new growing season, you'll have ready-to-use, loose, nutrient-packed compost, completely free of charge. You're not just getting rid of waste, you're actively creating life for your garden soil. The harvest is in, the fields are clear. You might think it's time to relax, but this is precisely when the crucial battle begins. One that will be far tougher to win come spring. The battle against perennial weeds. Think of persistent foes like couch grass, ground elder, horsetail, or dandelions. During the summer, with your garden beds densely planted, you're often limited to just snipping off their leafy growth. But their true strength lies in the powerful, deep roots that remain firmly embedded underground. So now, in September, after a good rain has softened and moistened the soil, this is your golden opportunity. Grab a garden fork, not a shovel. A shovel will only slice the rhizomes into pieces, and every single one of those pieces will just grow into a new plant. But with a fork, you can carefully pry up and pull out those long, white couch grass roots in their entirety. It's meticulous work, but it will repay you many times over. Every root you remove now means dozens fewer weeds next year. You're not merely weeding, you're conducting a precise surgical strike, eliminating the root cause of the issue. A few hours spent on this in the fall will save you weeks of back-breaking weeding next spring and summer. Before we start feeding our soil, let's follow a good doctor's example and run a proper diagnostic. Just like with any treatment, understanding the problem is key to finding an effective solution. We need to know exactly what our soil is lacking and what condition it's in after a long growing season. You don't need to be an agronomist or own a complicated lab. These days, simple and inexpensive soil testing kits are available at any garden centre. The most vital piece of information you'll want to uncover is the pH level, its acidity or alkalinity. This directly impacts how well your plants can absorb essential nutrients. The procedure is easy. Take a soil sample from your garden bed, mix it with water, dip a litmus strip, and compare its colour to the provided scale. It only takes 5 minutes, but this quick test provides invaluable information. Beyond pH, simply observe your soil's physical characteristics. Is it dense and hard, like packed clay, or is it light and crumbly? What colour is it? Most importantly, are there earthworms, those prime indicators of healthy soil? This basic diagnostic approach will help you act strategically, rather than just guessing. You'll know precisely whether you need to adjust the soil's pH, or if it simply needs more organic matter to improve its structure. It's a smart way to garden, transforming a routine task into a genuine science. But now, let's talk about a truly magical autumn gardening trick, one that many still overlook. We're talking about planting cover crops, also known as green manures. What exactly are they? Simply put, these are plants we sow, not for a harvest, but to nourish and improve the soil itself. Right after you've harvested and cleared your beds, you'll generously scatter seeds of plants like mustard, phacelia, oats, or rye. They sprout incredibly fast, and over the autumn quickly develop a lush green mass. So what's the magic behind them? First off, their powerful roots dive deep, doing an incredible job of loosening and structuring even the most compacted soil, making it airy and well-draining. Better than any spade, actually. Secondly, they form a living green carpet, suppressing weeds and protecting your soil from erosion and nutrient loss caused by rain. Thirdly, they're essentially a green factory for soil nutrients. Once they've accumulated a wealth of beneficial elements, just before the first hard frost, you simply mow them down. You can then either lightly incorporate them into the soil or leave them on the surface as a protective mulch. Over the winter, all that green matter will break down, enriching your soil with organic matter and essential nitrogen. Planting cover crops is truly the simplest, most affordable and eco-friendly way to revitalize and nourish your garden soil, setting it up for an incredibly productive new season. Green manures are fantastic, but soil that's been working hard all summer needs a more substantial meal. And this is where the ultimate treat for any garden bed takes centre stage: mature compost. If you built your compost pile correctly in the spring, by fall you'll have a ready supply of crumbly, dark, earthy-smelling fertilizer. It's important to understand. Compost is so much more than just a collection of nutrients. It's a living substrate, teeming with beneficial microorganisms, earthworms, and their valuable byproducts. When we add compost, we're not just feeding future plants, we're revitalizing the soil itself and dramatically improving its structure. Clay soil becomes looser and more aerated, while sandy soil gains a much better ability to retain moisture. So how do you apply it? It's remarkably simple. Simply spread a layer of compost a few centimetres thick evenly over the surface of your cleared garden beds. After that, you can either lightly dig it in, about half a spade's depth, or simply work it into the topsoil with a broad fork or cultivator. This helps thoroughly mix the compost with the top layer of soil and kickstarts the essential work of those beneficial microorganisms. Think of applying compost in the fall as depositing money into a high-interest savings account for your garden. Over the winter, it will fully integrate into the soil, and by spring, your garden beds will be brimming with vitality, perfectly primed for new plantings. While compost provides balanced daily nutrition for your soil, some fertilizers are more akin to concentrated vitamins, or if you prefer, the heavy artillery of soil amendments. I'm talking about powerful organic fertilizers like animal manure or poultry litter. And autumn is the absolute best, perhaps even the only truly correct time to apply them. Why? Fresh manure and litter contain very high concentrations of nitrogen in a form that can literally burn plant roots. Furthermore, they can harbour weed seeds and harmful pathogens. However, if you incorporate them into the soil during your fall garden preparation, all these issues will resolve over the long winter months, over several months of frosts, thaws, and the diligent work of soil microbes. The manure will completely break down. The aggressive compounds will transform into plant-available nutrients, weed seeds will lose their viability, and pathogens will perish. By spring, your soil will be enriched with nutrients in their most accessible and safest form. Application rates vary depending on your crops, but the golden rule is, don't overdo it. Spread the fertilizer evenly over your garden beds and then dig or till it into the soil. This autumn feeding will establish a powerful reserve of nutrients, setting your garden up for success throughout the entire next season. We've already tested our soil and know its pH level. If your litmus test revealed that your soil is acidic, then September is the perfect time for an operation known as liming, or soil sweetening. But why is this so crucial? Imagine giving your plants the very best fertilizers, only for them to be unable to absorb them. That's exactly what happens in acidic soil. Many vital nutrients like phosphorus, potassium, and calcium become unavailable to your plants. Meanwhile, an acidic environment can activate harmful elements like aluminum and manganese, posing a threat to your crops. Plants in such soil are more prone to diseases, grow poorly, and their yield significantly drops. To fix this, we need to introduce calcium-rich substances into the soil. The most popular and readily available soil amendments for this purpose are dolomitic lime, often called dolomite flour, slaked lime, or even common wood ash. Spread them evenly over the garden bed surface just before you dig or till. The dosage will depend on your soil's acidity level and the specific product you're using, so always carefully read the instructions on the packaging. It's best to perform this liming process in the autumn, primarily because the neutralization of soil acidity is a relatively slow process. This allows the chemical reactions to complete over the winter and spring, ensuring your soil's pH balance is perfectly normalized by the time you're ready to plant your seedlings. September isn't just for harvesting, it's also a prime time for new plantings. And the star of the early autumn season is, without a doubt, winter garlic. Why do we plant it in the fall? It's quite simple. Garlic, planted in autumn, undergoes natural cold stratification. This process hardens the plant, making it more resistant to diseases, and most importantly, it allows the garlic to form much larger, more robust bulbs compared to spring-planted varieties. Plus, you'll get your harvest significantly earlier. The keys to success are proper timing and planting depth. You should aim to plant about 3-4 weeks before the first hard, consistent frosts. This gives the cloves enough time to establish a good root system, but not so much that they sprout green shoots above the soil surface. A good indicator is soil temperature. It should have cooled down to 10-12 degrees Celsius. Planting depth is also crucial. As a general rule of thumb, you want about 5 centimeters or 2 inches of soil covering the top of each clove. Planting too shallow could lead to the cloves freezing out, while planting too deep might make it difficult for them to emerge in spring. When selecting your planting material, choose the largest, healthiest cloves from the outer ring of the garlic bulb. And of course, after planting, don't forget to mulch your bed with peat moss or fallen leaves. This will provide an extra layer of insulation and protection against the winter cold. Right next to your garlic, its closest relative, fall planted onions, will thrive. Yes, you heard that right. Onions can, and absolutely should be planted in the fall for overwintering. This method offers 2 tremendous advantages. First, you'll be harvesting the earliest, juiciest, and most vitamin-packed green onions in spring, often before anything else has even begun to sprout in your garden beds. Second, the main onion bulbs themselves will mature a full 2 to 3 weeks earlier than those planted in the spring. However, there's a crucial detail. Not all varieties are suitable for fall planting. You must choose specific, overwintering onion sets that are resistant to bolting. Regular onion varieties planted in autumn are highly likely to bolt in the spring, which means they'll produce flowers instead of a good, usable bulb. The planting window is similar to garlic aim for about a month before the first hard frost. Plant your onion sets approximately 4 to 5 centimeters deep to protect them from freezing. It's especially important to select the smallest sets for planting, ideally around 1 centimeter in diameter. Larger sets have a greater tendency to bolt. This strategy of fall planting onions not only guarantees you an early and abundant harvest, but also frees up valuable time in the busy spring gardening season when every minute counts. Ever dream of harvesting fresh dill or your very first carrots a full 2 or 3 weeks before your neighbours even think about planting? Then it's time to discover fall sowing, a game changer for early harvests. It's an age-old, slightly forgotten gardening trick that guarantees you an incredibly early crop. The idea is simple. You plant cold, hardy seeds in the fall, but you time it so they don't sprout until after winter has truly arrived. The seeds essentially sleep through the frozen ground, and then, as soon as the snow melts and the soil barely begins to warm in early spring, they burst into life. This happens long before you'd ever be able to physically get out into the garden and prepare your beds. So, what crops are ideal for fall sowing? Carrots, beets, dill, parsley, spinach, lettuce, and radishes are all fantastic choices. The golden rule: don't rush it. You shouldn't plant in September. Instead, wait much later. Aim for October or even November, once the ground has already started to freeze. Prepare your garden bed in advance, creating your furrows. Then, when the first hard frosts hit, scatter your dry seeds into those furrows, increase your seeding rate by about 50% just in case, and cover them with that pre-prepared dry soil or peat. Absolutely, do asterisk, not asterisk, water them. This simple trick is truly a time machine for your garden. With the ground not yet frozen and plenty of organic debris from our fall cleanup, it's the perfect time to think about future gardening ease for ourselves and our plants. We're talking about building raised beds. These are an ideal solution for plots with poor soil, high water tables, or simply for those who want to avoid bending over too much. Fall is the perfect season to get them set up. First, construct a sturdy frame using planks, corrugated metal, or any other durable, readily available material. Then comes the fun part, filling it. Think of it like building a lasagna. At the very bottom, for drainage and to create a long-lasting base, layer in large branches, old logs, and stumps. The next layer should be finer. Organic material, spent plant stalks, seedless weeds, and grass clippings. After that, add a rich layer of finished compost or well-rotted manure. Finally, top it all off with a generous layer of fertile garden soil. Over the winter, all this organic matter will begin to decompose, generating warmth. In spring, this bed will warm up significantly faster than a traditional garden bed, allowing you to plant seedlings much earlier. Plus, your plants will have access to a rich, continuous supply of nutrients from below. By building these elevated beds in the fall, you're not just clearing out garden waste, you're creating ideal conditions for future bountiful harvests and saving yourself significant effort for years to come. As autumn's busy season unfolds, it's easy to overlook our long-term garden residents. We're talking about perennial crops, especially our beloved garden strawberries. After all, next year's bounty hinges directly on how well they survive the winter. In September, your strawberry patch demands special attention. First, it's time for a thorough clean-up. Using sharp scissors or pruning shears, carefully remove all old, discoloured, diseased leaves and any excess runners that drain the plant's energy. Leave only the young, healthy crown. This not only rejuvenates your plants, but also improves air circulation, significantly reducing the risk of fungal diseases. Second, it's time to fertilise. But a crucial warning, no nitrogen. Your fall fertilizer should be rich in phosphorus and potassium. These nutrients will help your plants set flower buds for next year's harvest and fortify their root systems against the coming winter. Wood ash, for instance, is an excellent option. And third, just before the first hard frosts, make sure to mulch your strawberry beds. A generous layer of peat, compost, pine needles, or fallen leaves protect their delicate root systems from freezing temperatures. This diligent autumn care is your surefire guarantee of an abundant harvest of sweet, delicious berries next summer. As the main gardening tasks wind down, it's high time to take care of our trusty companions, our garden tools. Too often we simply shake off the dirt from our spades, toss the hose into the shed, and forget about them until spring. And that's a critical oversight. Throughout the season, tools accumulate not just soil, but also plant sap, and with it, disease-causing pathogens. If you start working with such tools in spring, you can easily spread infections from one area to another. That's why autumn maintenance isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. First things first, thoroughly clean all your spades, forks, rakes, and hoes of caked-on soil and plant debris. A wire brush works best for this. Then, rinse them with water and dry them completely. The next step is disinfection. Wipe down the working surfaces with alcohol or a strong solution of potassium permanganate. And finally, sharpening. A sharp tool not only makes work easier, but also causes less trauma to plants. Sharpen the blades of your pruners, saws, and spades. Lubricate all metal parts with machine oil or any other suitable lubricant to protect against rust. As for wooden handles, they can be treated with linseed oil. By dedicating an hour or two to tool care in autumn, you'll not only extend their lifespan, but also start the new season with clean, sharp, and safe equipment. The greenhouse is the heart of your garden. the place where the growing season truly begins and ends, to ensure it continues to provide those coveted early harvests next year. It needs some special attention this autumn. We've already discussed disinfecting the soil inside. However, the structure of the greenhouse itself is equally important. Throughout the summer, dust, dirt, and green grime, especially on polycarbonate panels, can accumulate. This build-up not only reduces transparency, cutting down on vital light for your spring seedlings, but also provides a perfect hiding spot for pests and disease spores. So, the first rule of autumn greenhouse care is a thorough, deep clean. Give your greenhouse a good scrub, both inside and out, using a soapy solution and a brush. Pay particular attention to all the joints and crevices. Secondly, it's time for an inspection and any necessary repairs. Check the frame's integrity, tighten any loose bolts, and inspect the polycarbonate panels for cracks. Under the weight of winter snow, even a small flaw can lead to significant damage. Here's a neat trick. If you have the space, bring a large black barrel filled with water into your greenhouse for the winter. During the day, it will absorb heat from the sun and then slowly release it throughout the night. This helps to moderate drastic temperature swings, creating a more stable and favourable microclimate for your soil. A greenhouse properly cared for in autumn is your best guarantee for a successful start to the next gardening season. Once your garden beds are tilled, fertilised and fully prepared for winter, there's one final crucial step, tucking them in for the cold months. This process is called mulching. Think about the forest floor. It's never bare. It's always covered with a protective layer of fallen leaves, pine needles and twigs. This is nature's own mulch. Our goal is to recreate something similar in our vegetable gardens. Why is this so important? Bare, unprotected soil is vulnerable to the elements. Strong winds can erode the fertile topsoil, autumn rains can wash it away, and winter frosts can penetrate deep, killing off beneficial soil, microorganisms and earthworms. A layer of mulch acts like a warm blanket for our garden beds. It shields them from erosion and deep freezing, helps maintain a loose, aerated structure, and prevents a hard crust from forming. Come spring, this blanket also helps the soil retain moisture longer and warm up faster. You can use various materials for mulching: grass clippings, straw, fallen leaves from healthy trees, pine needles, peat, or well-rotted compost. Simply spread your chosen material over the surface of the beds to a depth of 5-10 centimetres, about 2-4 inches. This simple act is the best way to ensure the health and fertility of your soil. One of the most rewarding and enjoyable autumn gardening tasks is actually one you can do from the comfort of your home, nestled in a cosy armchair with a cup of tea. It's all about planning. Now, with the season freshly wrapped up, your memories are as vivid as they'll ever be. You distinctly recall exactly where the tomatoes struggled with blight, or where the cucumbers didn't get enough sun. You remember the spots where cabbage thrived, and where the carrots ended up disappointingly small. This is precisely the perfect moment to grab a pen and paper, or open a digital file, and map out your planting strategy for the coming year. Sketch out your garden plot, noting all your beds. Then start assigning crops. Not haphazardly, but by strictly following the golden rule: crop rotation. You absolutely cannot plant the same crop, or its botanical relatives, in the same location several years running. Each plant has its own specific diseases, pests, and unique nutritional demands. By rotating your plantings, you prevent the build-up of pathogens in the soil and avoid depleting specific nutrients from the same spot year after year. For instance, cucumbers do well following cabbage, and beets are an excellent choice after potatoes. Make a note of which varieties performed beautifully for you this year and which ones fell short of expectations. Also, consider any new crops you're eager to try out. This autumn plan isn't just a piece of paper, it's your strategic blueprint. It will help you steer clear of common mistakes and ensure your next gardening season is far more organised and productive. And finally, the grand finale of our autumn gardening marathon involves an investment in the distant future, saving your own seeds. If you followed the Savvy Gardener's practice this summer, marking your most productive, healthiest, and best tasting tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, or zucchini, then now is the perfect time to harvest their seeds. This collection becomes your personal seed bank, your very own genetic legacy, perfectly adapted to your specific garden conditions. The harvesting process varies by crop. Tomato seeds, for instance, require fermentation to remove their gel-like coating, while pepper or squash seeds can simply be extracted from fully ripened fruit. Proper drying is crucial after extraction. Spread your extracted seeds in a single layer on paper in a dry, warm and airy spot, ensuring they are not exposed to direct sunlight. Once the seeds are completely dry and brittle, they are ready for storage. Label your paper packets or small jars clearly, noting the crop, variety and year of harvest. Store them in a cool, dry and dark place. Saving your own seeds isn't just about saving money. You become a true steward of genetic diversity, preserving the best traits for future, even more bountiful harvests. The most important and perhaps most surprising takeaway we've discussed today is remarkably simple. Your garden doesn't truly sleep in winter. Instead, it goes into a crucial reset, and we determine the potential it will unlock next season. All these 20 steps, from simple cleanup of spent plants to strategic fall sowing, are actually links in a single chain, a chain that leads directly to a healthy soil. And healthy soil, my friends, is the ultimate secret to a bumper harvest. These very September tasks are what separate a casual gardener from a true harvest master. It's an investment that pays dividends many times over. And here's the most fascinating part. The real mindset shift happens when you realise your 2026 gardening season doesn't kick off in March with starting seedlings. It begins right now, in September. So, while your neighbours are putting away their rakes for the winter, you're essentially already laying the groundwork for your fantastic future harvest. Remember, thorough cleanup, soil revitalization, and smart fall plantings are your ticket to a truly abundant harvest. This isn't just routine, it's an exciting process of creating future abundance with your own hands. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our spring secrets for getting your garden ready. What essential tasks do you tackle in your garden in September? Perhaps you have your own unique gardening hack or tip. Share it in the comments below. Let's build the most comprehensive database of fall gardening wisdom together.